Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Sam B right here with the Tune Up Show. So look, right, we're going to get right into this. Everything that's going on with Ukraine, Russia, and I know people are going to say like, well, Sam B, you're a little late to the show. People been talking about Ukraine and Russia. Like, but whatever. I get it. But let me tell you something. If this war is going to be like the last one we just casually stepped out of, with the dropping of the occupation of Afghanistan, let me tell you something. This is about to go on for another 10, maybe 20 years. Okay? You got people in power right now where they are trying to make up the legacy of this country. And nobody in this country, United States, no one really knows what's going on. I have to honestly say, because like I said in my last video, who really knows anybody from Russia? I mean, I know a few people from Russia, and I even know maybe a couple people that really knows what's going on in Russia. But anybody in America, you really have no idea what's happening in Russia right now. You only have what CNN is telling you, what Fox News is telling you, other people that tells you, like Alex Jones, InfoWars, the Gateway Pundit. This is the time for people to read. You have to read. Okay? You can't keep sitting around waiting to be spoon-fed information. Okay? That's the problem with this country, and that's why this country is literally going down. Going down in flames. Because nobody wants to read. It was an ongoing gag joke where people said, white people, whatever. Racist white people, I guess. Whatever. Racist white people said that. This is something that was staple to them. They said, if you don't want a black person to find out about anything, put it in a book. Now, of course, we know why. Because at the time it was said, black people wasn't allowed to read for a while. But why did they say that? Because, see, that is a saying that is meant for the multitudes of people. That wasn't just meant for black people. They just knew at the time black people were going to go along with it. The assimilation of black people into this country. Okay, and that's another video I'm gonna talk about too. Okay, the assimilation of black people. So here's the problem right now, and I'm gonna get right into this. This is from Fox News. All right, Tucker Carlson talking with Representative Maria Salazar over Russia-Ukraine war and borders. She's a Cuban Republican representative in Florida, and we're gonna let them talk it out, and I'm gonna talk in between. All right, this may be a long video, so if you got ADHD and you don't feel like hearing about anything, you don't want to hear about nothing, then just log off, just turn it off, okay? Because see, right now this thing has gained way too much speed. This car is been. This runaway train with this war has been going on. Okay, it's at out of control speeds right now. Okay, and people like me, we're waiting for people to put this all into perspective. Okay, and the people that are in charge, they're not putting into perspective. They're just not. So it's up to us to look at the facts, read between the lines, and most important, trust God. We have to trust God in this because in the Bible, it talks about rumors of war. It talks about people talking about so-called wars. Do we really know if it's a war going on? If it's going to be another world war? No, it's just rumors. Okay? Because let me tell you something. You're not at war with a country if you leave your country to go to that other country. Okay? You're not at war. That's called an invasion. You're invading on someone else's property. Okay? It's called trespassing. And normally what happens with trespassing, people normally protect their property from the person that's trespassing. But here in America, we call it war. Other countries, they call it trespassing. We call it war. I don't know. I'm not a warlord. So let's see what's going on here.
So things are changing very fast. For weeks, leaders in Washington told us that an American-backed no-fly zone in Ukraine would be unwise because it would amount to an act of war against a nuclear-armed Russia. As you can see, those views have evolved a lot. But in fairness, Congresswoman Maria Salazar got there first. Salazar is a longtime news anchor from Miami who a little over a year ago was elected to Congress as a Republican. She now sits on the Foreign Affairs Committee. A week ago, a reporter from the Gray Zone asked Salazar what she thought of a no-fly zone. Here's what she said.
Do you support a no-fly zone in Ukraine?
I support everything that has to do with punishing Vladimir Putin and helping the Ukrainians.
Wouldn't that mean direct conventional warfare with Russia?
I don't know what it will mean, but you know, freedom is not free.
So you don't know what a no-fly zone will mean. If you have to shoot down Russian planes, I mean.
Of course.
I don't know what it will mean, but you know freedom is not free. Now, we made fun of that answer last week when we first showed you that clip. But now what we mocked is the consensus in Washington. We don't know what's going to happen. We've got to do it immediately. That's the argument here.
And just to notice, you know, I mean, I'm not even going to go to that, you know, that inflammatory comment she just made. I mean, this woman's obviously out her damn mind as well. She has no idea what she's talking about. She self-admitted it, you know, and she obviously has no clue what's going on. And you can see that she has the AirPods in her ear. Most likely she's another pawn herself. I did some surface research on her. Yeah, this woman is obviously being used to trigger globalists, people all around. And like I said, you got to look for the in-between. You got to look for the devil in the details. And right now, this woman, she's not helping the situation. All right? And that's just facts. All right? For you to just talk about shooting down planes and just playing into the narrative, and you're questioned, you know, do you know what a no-fly zone means? Are you willing to take part in shooting down what you think is a Russian, like, you know? And she said, yes. I think Latimer put in these, and you know, she just triggered. You know, she obviously has a battery in her back, and you know, she's doing the bidding of her masters. You know, but let's continue.
First.
I don't know what it will mean, but you know freedom is not free. Now, we made fun of that answer last week when we first showed you that clip. But now what we mocked is the consensus in Washington. We don't know what's going to happen. We've got to do it immediately. That's the argument you're hearing. At this point, no one wants to say it out loud, but it is true. At this point, a shooting war with Russia seems inevitable. How could war with Russia not be inevitable? Virtually everyone with power is for it. We remain against it. We think that joining a war in Eastern Europe will hurt this country, though to be clear, when and if that war starts, we will be praying passionately for America's total victory. Unlike so many in the foreign policy establishment, we love this country above all, and we mean it. But in the meantime, while the United States is still technically at peace, we thought it'd be worth asking people who are calling for war if they have considered in detail what a war would mean for this country. Congresswoman Maria Salazar was gracious enough to accept our invitation to come on the show. We're grateful she did. She joins us tonight. Congresswoman, thanks so much for coming on.
Of course. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, yes. So since you have called for war with Russia, How do you think that war, once it begins, would play out?
I think that's a hypothetical.
And I'm going to remind her right back what she says, but I want you to look at what it says over there in quotation, I have a dream. We know that that's directly from MLK, Martin Luther King Jr. Martin Luther King Jr., I've already said this. Martin Luther King Jr. is and was, he died a communist. He died, not really being for black people. He was for the assimilation of black people into the society. And he was for black people being the lesser race in this society. And he helped move that along. That's why he preached things like turn the other cheek. Okay, he preached all of that. Nowhere in the Bible does, well, it says that in the Bible, it does. But also, this is Martin Luther King Jr. He used this "I Have a Dream" speech, and this is such a globalist term. And when I say it's a globalist, a lot of people, they think like, oh, well, you don't want everybody to be together, you don't want everybody to love each other, and all. Like, no, I'm for love, I'm for respect, and I'm for everybody being on one accord. I'm for all of that. But when you have people who are being very, very disingenuous, and they're using Christian principles, they're using godly principles to just further their agenda, then that means you have a problem.
A hypothetical question. I think that we should concentrate, Tucker, in what Zelensky asked Congress today, which is
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I can't. No, and I'm in no way.
Hypothetical question.
How do you? Well, yes. So since you have called for war with Russia, how do you think that war, once it begins, would play out?
I think that's a hypothetical question. I think that we should concentrate, Tucker, in what Zelensky asked Congress today, which is
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I can't. No, and I'm in no way trying to cut you off. But I can't let you a lot over that. You said we should shoot down Russian planes. That's of course war. Since you've called for that, and you are a member of Congress.
I think.
Well, you just said on the tape we played.
That was but that was taken out of context because I said, of course, that I know what that means. That interview was not very well conducted, and that's why I'm here, because I want to clarify my position. Okay. And my position is that we should not take the no-fly zone off the table. But before that, that's two. We need to do one. And one is to give Zelensky exactly what he's asking for. No troops on the ground. Let's give him the MiGs and the S-300s, what he needs to defend his own airspace. So he will create his own no-fly zone. And that's what I think we should have done months ago. It's embarrassing that this guy, this president, who is under the bullets, has come to Congress to beg for us to give him something that we should have done a long time ago.
Okay,
that's
let me
my
be
position.
Let me be clear. When you say we should give President Zelensky what he's asking for, he demanded today, I think you were there, that the United States enforce the no-fly zone. So you are for denying him that.
Well, but he also said, and then we can give you alternatives. So since we know that that should not be taken off the table, and I repeat it, I do believe that we should go to plan A, which is to give them all the military weapons that he is asking for.
Okay.
Because
well, I think a lot of people
sympathize
with that. Let me just say, I think a lot of people who saw President Zelensky's speech today and who've seen the atrocities in Ukraine feel deep sympathy for the Ukrainian people and want this to end. I'm certainly among them. But I'm wondering about the implications.
So then I'm asking you,
let me finish.
What should we do? Okay. So what should we do then?
Always and everywhere, especially if we're the U.S. government or one of its elected representatives, act on behalf of the core interests of the United States government. It's really super simple. So if the United States is providing weapons...
Let me just tell you let me ask you that.
Hold on.
Okay.
If the United States is providing weapons to one side in a war, how is that not participating in the war?
Listen, let me just backtrack and say that you say that we're supposed to be representing the American people. I represent District Number 27.
And as you can see, these people like her, Maria Salazar, they have a real hard time with answering direct questions. And you have to see how these people are. These people like her, and like I said, I don't know who this woman is, but she says she represents the 27th district of Florida. Let me tell you something. Majority of that is off-land properties, okay, islands off the Florida Keys, okay, and she's a Cuban nationalist. All right, and everybody know, and I don't know if anyone knows this or not, but Cuba was one of the countries that suspended constitutional rights for their people. So for her to be sticking up for Ukraine and all this, and look, this woman obviously, like I said, and I hope people don't take this as I'm bashing women or this woman obviously has her own agenda, and she's a she's on the roster. She's on the roster, and it's just plain to see. I mean, look, if you got two brain cells to put together, you should be able to see right through this. And if you don't, then I'm sorry, I don't know what else to tell you.
Where you have millions of Cuban Americans, and I'm representing what we think. We know that we acquired peace through strength. Look at what happened in 1960. Mm-hmm. Fidel Castro and JFK.
Stop. I'm sorry.
JFK
I can't. I'm not going to take the anti-communist lecture from anybody because, of course, I agree with you.
No.
And by the way, I hope that you're not speaking for quote Cuban Americans, but for all Americans, because it's not a racial question. It's a question of
I'm talking about
national interest.
I'm representing district number 27.
I understand. But I'm just saying. Right, I got it. And I'm as against communism, I think, as anybody. But my question is, if we are providing weapons to one side in a war, I think it's fair to ask, maybe the other side would say that's an act of war against us. And if that happens, then what next? And to not think about that seems negligent, but since you're on the Foreign Affairs Committee, I know that you have thought it through. So tell me your views on what would happen next.
Tucker, we have been providing javelins and stingers and ammunition, and we're providing a lot of military armament. So what is the difference between that and the MiGs and the S-300s? What's the difference? I mean, you have to understand that we are, unfortunately, the United States has fallen into the Vladimir Putin's trap. He is the one dictating what we're going to do, what we're not going to do. He said, we do not want, we are imposing a no-fly zone over Ukraine, and we are
so we're letting Putin control our behavior. Okay, so that seems like a loss right there. Right. Okay, but let me just ask you, because we believe we don't need to have more evidence that Putin has bad intent, that he's evil. A lot of people believe he's crazy, including some informed people, including many Russians. So we know he's volatile, and we know that he's heavily... How many nuclear weapons, by the way, does Russia have? Do you know?
Many.
Only about 6,000 is the guess. One is enough, and that's a fair answer.
One is enough.
So are we concerned at all that he might use a nuclear weapon against the United States? Is that a concern? Is that something that you consider as you recommend these policies?
Of course that we're very concerned, and we're also concerned that he may be throwing a biological weapon against the Ukrainians within the next few hours.
Okay, so why is that any of our business? If United States is so concerned with Russia bombing or even doing anything detrimental to the United States, why are we involved? Okay? That's like seeing somebody getting their ass kicked. You don't know why they're getting their ass kicked, but you want to jump in it anyway. And then you want to be worried when the person says, hey, you're going to catch it just for jumping in. Now you want to be worried. Now you want to say, oh, well, I'm sorry. Well, what do you mean? Oh, don't hit me. I just want to help my friend. No, this is not what it is. It's playground rules. If you see somebody getting their ass kicked, 9 times out of 10, there's a reason behind it. Okay? And a lot of people know Ukraine is the hotbed of corruption in Russia. And I dare anybody to fight me on that. Okay? I dare anybody to fight me on that. Everybody knows it. Because what they're doing to the blacks over there, okay? Yeah, there's black Ukrainians. They're Ukrainians of color. Yeah, look up those videos of what they're doing to them. You see, the problem with this country is nobody wants to think past their damn nose. Everybody wants to just play, go along to get along. That doesn't work for me. That doesn't work for the Tune-Up Show. That doesn't work for me. That doesn't work for Sam B. Okay? Because when you can see the BS, you know it. Because you smell it before you can see it. And this whole war, this Russia, whatever it is, this is all BS. Because I smelt it. And most people with a brain knows that this is just for the globalists to take over and put all of America in chains. That's what it's all about.
Because he cannot take Kiev as he thought he was going to. So of course that we are in confronting a dictator. But I think that we should put this into context, and I thank you very much that you're giving me the opportunity.
Of course.
If we believe in the free world, that this is just going to be the first or the last confrontation with a bad actor, we're in for a very big surprise. Because if we do not confront bad actors with strength, then we're going to have China and Russia and Iran and Fidel and you and.
It's funny she says bad actors. Is she talking about Governor Zelensky? Because last time I checked, this guy was he was in movies, he was in TV, he was a damn comedian before he became president. So who is she talking about bad actors? Let me tell you something. It's like I said before. Anybody that you see on TV is an actor. They're playing into a narrative. And I know, I'm using Fox News, but this is the only news station that I'd rather use to gain some kind of context. But I stand by what I mean, and I stand by what I'm saying. Anybody that is on TV, that's on the news, or Hollywood, entertainment, these people are actors, okay? They're here to play a role. I tell you all the time, life is a stage, okay? It's up to you in your life and on your stage whether or not you're going to give somebody a leading role in your life or you're going to tell them to exit stage left.
Okay.
Venezuela
okay,
and
but
Nicaragua, they're watching
hold
what
on,
we're
hold
doing.
on. But if and needless to say, I've made that argument, for 30 years on television. The question is, are we doing it with all available risks known to the population in whose name we're doing it? So I'm asking you, what do you think the chances are, and I'm sure you've gamed this out as a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee, that Putin uses a nuclear weapon against the United States in response to this? What would you calculate the chances
He can, sure that we are taking that into consideration. And
but what do you think the likely? I mean,
obvious.
our viewers are, I'm sure, supporting you. I think most conservatives are on your side, but I just think they should know what the informed view of the likelihood of a retaliatory nuclear strike from Vladimir Putin is. What would you assess it as being?
And I repeat, that's a hypothetical question, and I
Well, it's hardly a
believe
hypothetical.
that he will not take that step if starting to.
Yeah, she's on as a Republican, but let's just be honest here. She took office as a Republican a year ago. Okay, so we can speculate that most Republicans are Democrats low key. All right, I mean, she doesn't even talk, and in the way that they're not even vibing, Tucker Carlson and what's her name? And Maria Salazar, the way they're talking, they're not on the same page. So the red herring is her acting like that she's a Republican, and she's really not. Okay, you can hear the tone of her voice, you can just, and it's all about war. It's all about, she doesn't know. She's being told what to say. This woman has no real mind of her own. I don't really care for women in politics. I don't really care about it because it's all theater anyway. So if women that want to be a part of politics, that's just adding fuel to the fire, because it's a woman's nature to seek after power and authority. Okay, and that goes back to Eve. That's why Eve took a bite of the apple first. Okay, because it's in a woman's nature to seek after authority and power. This Maria Salazar, I believe she's a sheep in wolf's clothing. All right, and for people who take this political stuff seriously, you should probably look into it because, like I said, man, it's about to get real.
Today, the Biden administration will send the message that we are in charge, that NATO is ready to confront him, and so are we. And that is the problem that I believe, I'm not sure if you share in my view, that you obtain peace, you obtain this, you can take all the power away from Putin if you show strength. To put it in more.
And also, when you hear people stutter like that and stammer over their words, that's a red flag for this person is being controlled. They have to hide their true intentions, so they have to work harder to say what they mean or say what they don't mean. Okay, they have to put on a facade. So people that are genuine liars, most likely like this Maria Salazar is, she has to work harder to be a liar. Because when you're telling the truth, you don't have to work hard. You don't stammer. You don't stutter. Okay, it spews out when you're telling the truth. But when you're lying, most likely you're stammering. You're struggling to get the words out. Okay, same thing with Obama. When he was when he was running for president, same thing with a lot of these Democrats, and it's a shame because they're not Democrats anymore. This is the Democratic Party, the Doublecratic Party, and I feel sorry for anybody who is still cheering on this particular party.
Do you believe that? Do you believe that's true? So President Zelensky said yesterday that he is considering declaring that Ukraine would not join NATO in exchange for having Russian troops withdraw from his country. Would you describe, this is President Zelensky speaking, would you describe that
Zelensky can, who am I to say what's correct and what's
would you
incorrect?
Accept, would you, well,
Zelensky?
I don't know, you, okay. Wait a minute, hold on, please don't dodge the question. Would that be an answer you'd be satisfied with? If Zelensky made good on what he just suggested, that we'll agree to neutrality, we'll relinquish claims to Crimea, and the Russians leave, would that be okay with you? Would you consider that an honorable exit, or would you consider it a display of weakness?
If Zelensky comes to the United States Congress and he says that this is the best path forward, we are no one to say something to the contrary. But I don't think he's going to say that. So we're creating scenarios here that are hypothetical.
No, we're not.
He
himself, you may not be following this closely, but he has said that multiple times. So of course that outcome would spare the deaths
of him.
Okay, but that would spare the deaths, and since I know you have great concern for the civilian population of Ukraine, that would spare the deaths of untold thousands and preserve the capital city from being destroyed. So would that be better than increasing the level of armed conflict in Ukraine? Which would be a better outcome?
That's for the Ukrainians.
What do you mean? You're an American policymaker who's imposing your views on Ukraine, and I'm asking you simply, would that be a better?
Why not
push? Well, of course you are. You're saying we need to send materiel, billions of dollars, arm the military, and I'm not.
Well, she's not imposing anything. We all have the same views. Okay, Ukraine is the democratic country of Russia. I mean, the democratic state of Russia. Okay, of Europe. That's the hotbed of she's not opposing anything. And I mean, I know Tucker Carlson is a lot smarter than this, and I know he still has to placate to Fox News and still play this scenario. But my goodness, I mean, she's not imposing anything. Okay, what she's doing is she's etching it in stone. Okay, she's putting it in cement. What the globalists want. All right, this is happening. So I don't believe Tucker Carlson is unintelligent at all. I believe he's a very intelligent person, and I believe that all this is just placating to Fox News. But this woman, Maria Salazar, she is definitely a wolf in sheep's clothing, and I'm gonna let this continue, but I'm gonna stop it in a little bit.
Criticizing
Yes.
your position. I'm just asking you, has it occurred that many lives might be saved if we were to encourage the peaceful solution that's already on the table? Are you doing anything in that direction?
If the Ukrainians want to go that route, they have the right to, and we're no one to say anything about it because they are the ones dying on the streets, and they're the ones under
and they certainly
being
are.
bombarded.
They certainly are dying. That's right. I don't notice any members
I
of
think
Congress
that-
or David Frum laying down their
wanted you
lives.
to.
It's the Ukrainians.
I
But have
think-
you
I think we
suggested
have-
that?
Tucker, I think that we have talked about this point enough. I also wanted you to give me the opportunity
have?
to explain to you
Well, I
about
wanna
open
ask
borders
you what
because
I-
you said that I was in favor of open borders, and I wanted to. I talked to your
Well, you
production,
just called
and I
last
said that I
month for the
wanted you
amnesty
to.
for tens of millions of people who came
Oh,
into this
no,
country
and
illegally.
you
But you
see,
did,
and-
because I read the legislation
No,
today.
I did not.
Actually, about
And
20 minutes
think
ago I
that
read it.
you have.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad you did. And
Yes, I did.
and I will invite you to read it again because just give me 30 seconds and I promise I'll
Okay.
give it to you in sound bites. The Dignity Act.
Yeah, I'm done listening to this line, which honestly, and I'm saying that in all truth and honesty. I believe this woman is some kind of witch, because she has done nothing but lied, grandstand her way for the past 12 minutes. And I just want to show this real fast. This is a map of her. This is a map of where she runs. Okay, so everything from Miami, all right, International Airport. All right, this is the 27th Congressional District border. This is her area. All right. Now that's the Miami International Airport, right? So anything outside of it, and you see all this land and all these, South Bayshore Drive, Main Highway. Okay, she controls all of these islands. All right, and I'm trying to tell you people, when all you got to do is look into what these people are doing. This is her border. This is and mind you, District 27. This is her area. She controls all of this. So so like a lot of stuff here is based off of, it's all water. So no, like who are the people that live out here? West Miami, Southwest 40th Street, South Miami, Kendall, all this, and it goes all the way out to the border. These are all beach homes. These are all multi-million-dollar beach homes that she's in charge of. Okay? And if you look even closely, okay, this is where people come in. They boat in. Okay? The Bahamas, All right, the Bermuda Triangle, whatever. Cuba, look at this. Cuba, she's a Cuban nationalist. Okay? Look, this is real, people. I need people to understand what they're looking at here. Cuba, direct shot. Now, what's to stop her from just letting think? I mean, she's already on record for opening borders. All right? And now all of a sudden she got a say in to what's happening in Ukraine. Let me tell you something. And that was just surface. That was surface research I just did. I didn't even dig into her. But see, this is how arrogant these people are. This is how, these people are living. They don't care. They only care because they're getting something out of it. Okay, and Maria Salazar, most likely, she is a wolf in sheep's clothing. So, yeah, I get it. Her party affiliation is Republican, but I guarantee you this: she just became that. Okay, she just became that. Was it last year, I think? And see, this is what people need to start paying attention to. All right? People need to start paying attention. They need to start paying attention. Yeah, she's a Republican assistant whip. All right? And she's here to just be the controlled opposition. So that's just a piece. That's a piece of what's happening here. And you got to pay attention to the low level as much as you're paying attention to the high level. I'm Sam B. This is the Tune Up Show. I call it as I see it. This is what we do. I'm out of here. Peace.